Monica, and welcome back to TaylorMade Cards for You. Well, in my last video, I showed you how to put together these fun tags using some of the ephemera, along with some of these little characters that I made. Now, one thing that I love to do during the holidays is I love to layer. But when I buy my ephemera packs, you know, I use my favorite pieces and then I'm left with additional ones, right? But you always are sad when you use some of your favorite pieces. So I decided to take some of my vintage ephemera and shrink it down so I can have many ephemera pieces to use on my projects. So that way, if I ever run out of something that I really love or something that works really well, I can just print it over and over again. So I decided, like I said, to go ahead and put together my own mini ephemera kit. And this is what I came up with. Let me go ahead and share with you. Now these pieces are tiny, so this is kind of what you're looking at. These come from bigger pieces, and then what I did is I just shrunk them down using my Photoshop, so that way I would get my images really crisp and clean, but that way they would fit in my ephemera pieces. And I also had this really cool old newspaper that I found at the flea market, and it had some really great Christmas ads. So I went ahead and I scanned those, cleaned them up, and then I could use those as well as for my layering. Now, one thing I decided to do, because I know when I make things like this, you guys sometimes like to repeat them, but you may not have all the items. I decided I'm going to go ahead and put together about 5 kits to make some of these. And you're going to get the boards, and this is something I'm working on right now. So by the time the video airs, I should have my kits together. But I'm putting together these boards that will already have your paper on them. So you're going to get, I'm not really sure, I think I'm going to probably price it at $15, so I got to figure out exactly how much I'm going to put in there. But you'll get enough at least for a couple of these. I'm going to include some of these old Viewmasters. I'll include some of the milk caps, some ephemera pieces, some of my old Christmas seals, and these are authentic vintage, so I'll be able to include authentic vintage as well. But I just want to put together, like I said, about 5 kits, and I'm hoping to price them at about $15. So I'll have them linked below, and I won't release this video until I actually have my kits put together. But that way, if you want to create some of these fun little tags, you'll have the items to do that. Now, another thing that you're going to be able to use these little ephemera pieces for are for the slides that I shared with you back in July. And I've been busy making these as well. These are the little vintage slides that I've covered. And they can be used for decorations. I think I added, can't remember, I've done so much here. Oh yeah, so this one here, I ended up adding it onto a tag. So you can add them onto your tags, you can use them as ornaments. There's lots of fun things you can use these for. So I've been busy creating these as well. And I sold these, a few of these in my shop, and I'm gonna go ahead and be adding these back in the shop so you guys can purchase these or at least get the slides so you can make these on your own. So be watching for those linked below as well. But since I've already created these tags for you and these little slides for you, I wanted to create something different for you today using some of my little mini ephemera pieces. So this is what I came up with. I came up with this little mini book, and this was my prototype, but it came out pretty cute. As you can see, I was able to have a little bind here to put a little December. It has a little label here. It's a wonderful life, or it's a wonderful, the most wonderful time of the year. And then it also has those little vintage ads that I shared with you. So this is a really cute little book, which was pretty easy to make. Here's some of my glue was still wet, but again, this was my prototype. So I wanted to go ahead and show you how to put this together using these little ephemera pieces. And these are going to be in the shop. You can get these as digital downloads, but the actual kits that I'm going to put together for you will be a physical item. So if you are the type of person that like to print and have digital images, you'll be able to create all of this, you know, Or if you don't have a digital printer and you just want a kit, you'll be able to have that option as well. So this is what we're going to create today. And then, like I said, at the end of the video, I'll have everything linked below, not only for the digital images, but for the tag kits as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I went ahead and I cut out all of the little pieces, and you're going to get pieces that are both horizontal as well as vertical. I kind of want to show you what I mean here. And the horizontal ones are perfect to decorate your slides. So if you wanted to, you know, create some of these little slides, these horizontal ones are perfect. They would fit inside, they could go in the back, they can go in the front, but they work really well. And the vertical ones work as well, but as you can see, if you were to do the vertical ones, you want to have your slide this way, so that way the hole would be covered, or it would fit inside of the hole here. So these are going to be great to decorate your slides, to decorate your tags, and also to make these little books. So let me go ahead and show you how I made this. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create the outside. And the outside is going to measure, let's see if I can find a ruler here for you, because I know you all like to be precise. Your outside is going to measure about, let's see, 3 1/4 by 2 1/4, somewhere around there. It's a little bit bigger than your inside of your pages. Okay, so that's your cover. And then when you create the outside for your label, the way that I do that is I figure out what I want to use. On this particular one, I did the December. I just cut that right off of the calendar. On this one, I did Christmas. But on this one, let's go ahead and see if we can find something that'll work here. So you got peppermint, lots of choices. So let's go ahead and do the peppermint. All right, now as you can see, this is a little bit thicker, so you're going to want to cut it down. You can use your trimmer if you want to. I just like to kind of eyeball it. So just trim it down. Make sure you're not cutting off your words. Okay. And then just take some of your distress ink. This is walnut stain. And then just kind of distress it up a little bit. All right, and then you're going to want to, I scored it here, but you're going to want to find the center, because we're not going to really score it, we're going to more bend it. So let's find our center here, glue this down. And I'm using my 3-in-1 Beacon glue here. And again, just finding my center, and I'm going to just center this right there. And then give it a few minutes to dry, because we're going to round it. So let's put this aside to dry. You want it to be nice and dry, because we're going to be manipulating it. And then once it's dry, this one's pretty dry, what I like to do is I'll take a pencil or a pen, whatever works for you, and I just kind of want to shape it, okay, because I want more of a round bind. And then once I got a general shape, I might even stick my finger in here and just kind of move it a little bit more. But you want to make sure this is completely dry, because if it's not, then your edges are going to come up a little bit, all right? So just kind of shape it till you get kind of the shape of a book. Okay. This one, when I made my first one, I didn't do that. And as you can see, the label is kind of sticking up a little bit. But like I said, this was my prototype. So, you know, I learned from my first ones. All right, so once you have that shaped, then we can go ahead and we can start working on the inside. Now the inside, at the end of the day, is going to look like a star. It's going to look like this. Okay? This is your edges and these are your pages. And it's going to fit right in here like that. So let me show you how I did this. You're going to want to cut some paper, and I'm using craft paper, but you want to cut it 1 3/4. So your book cover was 2 inches, and this is 1/4 of an inch smaller. All right, so I just cut some strips just like this. I cut them at 2, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim them down for us. So you want it to be 1 3/4. And I'm going to cut a couple of these because I want to show you how I got to 5 pages. All right, so now that you have these trimmed down, you're going to want to take your scoreboard and you want to score at 1 1/2 increments. So 1 1/2, 3, and then I typically will just fold them as I go along, just to make sure I got them exactly how I want them. And then again, 1 1/2, 3, and I guess you could score all the way down. I just, for whatever reason, I don't. And then the last one, again, 1 1/2. Now don't cut this off because you're going to need this. Okay? But as you can see, you don't have enough pages, but we're going to glue our pages together. And this is where this comes into play right here. So you want your edge to be as a valley. Okay, so the first page needs to be a valley, and then these are going to be your peaks that you're going to glue down. So just take your glue or your tape, you know, whatever you have, and start gluing your pages shut. Okay. And I ended up making 5 pages, but you can make as many pages as you like. You just got to keep gluing them together. So there's my first page. This is going to be my second page right here. All right. I'm going to need to glue this down here. To add to it. Okay, I'll let that dry a minute while we glue this. And you can make these books any size you want. I'm making the mini books, but it's the same process if you want your books to be a little bit bigger. Okay, so we have, again, this is our side, 1 page, 2 page. I'm going to go ahead and make the 3rd page right here. Those are 3 pages, and as you need more, again, just score your paper, glue it on, and then just keep going till you get as many pages as you need. And then once you have all your pages, then get a binder clip or something to hold these closed so that way they will glue, and then just set it aside. Since I've already got my book together, we're going to go ahead and put this together. All right. So I have my pages, they're all glued. I glued them off camera. And now all we need to do is we need to put them in our book. So before we do that, I want to go ahead and I want to add some Distress ink to this. And I added Distress ink to the outside as well, even though it was already dark. But I wanted it to look a little bit more leathery. And then I'm going to add some more Distress ink to these. All right, so just doing double duty here. I want to get ink all over my pages. I want it to look old, so that's why I'm adding the ink. And you're going to want to do that to each page. And you can use walnut stain, you can use vintage photo. There's all sorts of vintage Distress inks that you can use that would look great. Typically when I'm edging things, I go to walnut stain. That's kind of my go-to ink. But there's definitely other inks you could use as well. So once we get these all inked up, then we can go ahead and put our book together. Okay. All right. So again, I'm going to use my 3-in-1 beacon. Figure out my placement here, and then these sides here are going to get glued down. You want to make sure that the middle of your book is somewhat in the middle. I'm using the wrong one. That's my peppermint one. I want to use my Christmas one because I've already kind of bent it. So let's go ahead and add some glue to our edges. And I like to use the 3-in-1 beacon. It's a liquid adhesive and it will give me movement. You've heard me say that before. But especially when I'm trying to line something up, I want to be able to adjust it if I need to. And this, I want to, align it the best way I can. So that way when it's finished and open, it looks like a book. So once you get it exactly where you want it, then what I would recommend is to, hold it down a minute, let the glue set. But then you also want to use your binding clip. And that will help it stay in place. Okay. All right, so the book is glued, ready to go. Now it's just time to decorate it. Now, since this is Christmas out here, I thought I would go ahead and use some of the colorful ones. This one I used all of those old ads, which was really cute. But I wanted to go ahead and use some of my other items this time. So I'm going to go ahead and see what I can figure out here, which one I want to use. And then as I go along and add my pieces, I'll distress my edges as I go along. And then add my glue. And what's really fun about these little books is every book can be a little different. Your covers can be different, your pages can be different, your binding can be different. There's just so much you can do with these little books. And then once you have all of your items inside, you can make, a little bookshelf to add your books as well. So, it purely is decorative. If you like to make those kits, those curio kits that house all the fun little Christmas items, these would be cute to have inside of your your showcase. Just another little addition. I've been wanting to make some of these mini books for a while, but I never had enough ephemera pieces because every year I buy the Christmas ones from the Ideology collection, but I always run out. And you know, the Christmas Ideology ephemera pieces only come out seasonally. So if I wanted to make several of these little books, I'd have to buy a lot of packages, and I'd have to buy them early on. So, you know, I decided that I wanted to go ahead and create my own ephemera pieces, so that way if I wanted to make several little books, I can just keep printing them out as I needed them. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this book, and then once I have everything glued down, I'll come back and I'll share with you the finished item. Okay, and then here is the finished little book. You want to make sure that after you have it glued, make sure your pages are spread apart so you don't make the same mistake I did and have part of your pages glued together. But all my pages are finished, and it's just a little cute little flip book. Could add to some of your Christmas decoration if you're maybe making a display or something. It'd be really cute to have a couple of little books, you know, on your display case that could sit and be part of your decor. And then, like I said, I had to go ahead and put together another one of these slides. The little mini ephemera pieces that are horizontal fit perfectly for these slides to decorate these up as well. So I hope that you liked my new kit, which is the mini ephemera pieces. And like I said, I'll make sure that I link everything below for you, along with the physical tag kit that I'm going to be putting together for you. And the tag kit's going to be great. I'm going to go ahead and I'll cut out all the print out and cut out all the ephemera pieces, and I'll even cut them for you so that way you have the jaggedy edges to work with on your tags. So you're going to have lots of things in that kit. You'll have both authentic vintage as well as some of the reproduced ephemera, along with the big tags so you can decorate them up to create your own little Christmas decors. All right, so as always, I'll leave a list of everything that I used to create these, along with the links to the stores. And if you've enjoyed the video, I would sure appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because I hope to get some more Christmas videos out there for you real soon. All right, everybody, thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll see you again next time.